I think that a lot of these chains are going to be interoperable, and that's going to be a key factor. So rather than look at specific ecosystems, I'm looking more at the projects that are able to adapt and go onto the different ecosystems.
Welcome to Crypto Interviews. My name is Claudio, and this is Cryptoshchain, the channel that brings you crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews with a focus on the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems. Except today, we're not going to talk about Polkadot and Kusama, maybe a little bit, because we always want to ask Mark, who's actually happens to be our guest today, about Polkadot and Kusama. What does he think? Because I was also a guest on his channel not too long ago, so we will be posting a link to that video at the end of this video, because we want you to watch this one, of course, and not to click off it, and then to go watch that video if you're interested and check out his channel. But yeah, we're joined by Mark, who runs the YouTube channel Professor Crypto Banana, and it sounds like an interesting name. And we have to understand why. Why he's using Professor? We understand why he's using crypto, but what's the link between Professor and bananas? Something is off there, right? So is this something to do with aping into projects? Because, you know, they say like monkeys eat bananas, and then they call those people degens and they ape in. So has that some link, or is that totally different? How
You
you
know
doing?
what? I may steal that. I may steal that idea. It's kind of like have you seen the movie The Batman with the Joker? And every time he gives like a different story as to how he got the scars, maybe I gotta switch it up. Every single time it's a little different. But first off, thank you for having me on your channel here. It's a major honor. So yeah, going down to the name. So I looked at crypto that's very complicated, right? It's difficult to understand. So I came up with a name that users would find very easy, not feel that's too complicated, just feel like, oh, this is a funny name. So it's more of a beginner level. So Professor, I love teaching, as you can tell by the whiteboards, etc. I love talking, educating. Crypto, I think that's pretty self-evident. And finally, Banana, just because it was a funny name. I liked bananas, but ironically, I ate too many that now I can't do it anymore. Like I'd eat like 8 a day and it just too much. So I had to cut that out. But overall, yeah, the banana is also a good idea because it's a common word, right? So you go to the supermarket, you see like, oh, that's a banana. And then also aping in, like you said. So it's just a common word. And when people see a banana, then hopefully they associate that back to me. So that's the background.
Awesome. So that explains it. We finally got the answer now. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no degen involved here. It's all serious stuff.
So sometimes, we can go degen. I like degen stuff as well. So
Of course. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. So yeah, so let us know, like, when did you first get into crypto? How did you start? Like when was the very first year you heard of cryptocurrencies, and when did you first make your investment, basically?
for sure. So it really started around the the cough time, right? And I just saved cash just based on my parents' background, what they educated me on. I just saved cash. And eventually, once the cough happened, I'm like, you know what? I'm taking a bet. I'm dealing with options. So, in case your audience doesn't know, it's more of a traditional finance concept that you can just not short a stock or do whatever, you just do like ultra amounts. And I decided to play that route and I got burned. I got burned super hard, but you know what? I was so grateful because it made me look at my assumptions that, okay, things are always going to be bear, everything's always going to be bad. And I learned, I got burned. So then I started to do some day trading on stocks. And I got very frustrated because here in the US, you have to have $25,000 in order to be allowed to day trade like unlimited amounts.
Yeah.
So I got very frustrated with that, right? I took a look at Bitcoin and I saw, wait a second, I can trade this 24/7. It's not even that the markets are open from, let's say, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's open all the time. So I can day trade that. And that's just pretty much how I got started. I got sucked in. I'm like, well, okay, there's Bitcoin, but Ethereum and other of these tokens have a lot more volatility. This is more fun. And wait, if I do a little bit more research, maybe I may have an edge. And that's what got me started.
Nice. That sounds interesting. Wow. So, okay, cool. And let's talk about the first cryptocurrency that you got in. So I assume it was Bitcoin, but just in case, was it something else?
Let me think. Now, are we talking about trading or actually like, hey,
No,
I have
actually
some
buying, like,
conviction and I
yeah,
want
the
to
first
hold
one
it?
that you bought and you moved to your wallet. Like,
Hmm. That's a great question. I think it was Ethereum because some of the different projects that I wanted to get into, Ethereum was before the crazy gas fees of, let's say, $200, right? So
yeah.
That was right before then. So I had a great introduction to Uniswap and just purchasing some tokens through a decentralized exchange, learning about gas fees. And that was actually the way how I used it.
Okay, I see. Cool. Yeah, that's actually a good way to get in, isn't it? Because when you get into Bitcoin, I mean, you just buy, you send it to your wallet, and you don't do anything else. Whereas with Ethereum, it gets more interesting. You get to use MetaMask. You might get to use a Uniswap, maybe not necessarily. I mean, you can just go buy it on an exchange, right, and send it out. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you're with the Ethereum network, you can always get that extra exposure to how the crypto world works. Awesome.
Precisely.
Awesome. And what made you start your crypto channel? Because I saw you started like a year ago, so it's not a very old channel. I mean, you've recently started, but it was like
Mm-hmm.
around the peak of the last bull market.
That's true. Yeah, so I always just love talking, and I think that crypto is very complicated. So I just want to make things simpler. That was just pretty much my drive. I wanted to get on camera, start it out, and just talk about it. So you can take a look at some of my beginning videos, and they practically got nothing, right? Which is no
Yeah.
surprise. So if anybody in the audience wants to start up their own channel and they're debating on it, just go for it. Know that it's going to suck at the beginning, but eventually you'll get your footing and find what you like. And for me, it was getting more into what was I was watching Fantom community alerts, and they really helped with explaining how to get into DeFi and the different concepts. I'm like, oh, this is really cool, but oh my gosh, this is so hard. Can I create visual diagrams and explain that on my channel? And that's pretty much how it took off.
Interesting. So you mentioned Phantom. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
do you see Andre Cronje as your idol, or I mean, was he the person that actually got you into Phantom to begin with?
Actually, no, it was a Phantom community alerts because of the ability to explain what's going on. They were able to show, like, okay, this is how you create LP tokens. This is how you get yield. And this was back last year when the yield was just insane. And you're looking at it and you're like, really thinking, like, dude, I am so rich. This is amazing, right?
Yeah.
1% per day. Oh, these other like Joe Schmoes on traditional finance, they're happy if they get 5%. Claudio, I get this in 1 week. This is amazing. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, the bear market hit and you kind of learn from there. But that's how I got into Fantom. Now, the way how I see it with Andre, I'm definitely sure that from a tech side, he does produce a lot of great things, right? He was behind Yearn and he's just a great developer. But at the same time, I always like to keep things in perspective when it comes to superstars and idols, because if you idolize them too much, then you can get burned. And I think we've seen that through a lot of other crypto events that happened recently. So
Yeah.
it's always good to say, what are they really producing for the space, but at the same time put in perspective and don't just go fully blind amazing, like wherever he goes I go, no questions asked, etc. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, did you support mostly Phantom as in the project Phantom, or were you supporting some of the ecosystem projects building on top of Phantom as well?
yeah, so when it came to Fantom, I really liked it because, as I mentioned with Ethereum, the gas fees went up to like $200 per transaction. It became very obvious to me that normal retail investors aren't going to be able to afford that. Right. So then that's when I started looking at alternatives. And Fantom really caught my eye because it just recently pumped like an insane amount for, I don't know why. So that's what caught my attention. And then I also saw that it was EVM compatible, meaning that if there's smart contracts on Ethereum, it can also work on Fantom. You can bridge between it. I thought that that was also a very attractive point. So then also the gas fees were super cheap. It was really fast. I loved the experience, and it wasn't like Ethereum, perhaps, where it was like very established. It was just like a new up and coming. It was ultra degen, Claudio, ultra degen. I loved it because it was fun. And as I got into it, I started to realize that I really liked the projects that were out there, because if, let's say, a token or a Fantom, it's not financial advice, anything in this video naturally, but my thinking was, if a market cap coin was super high, then the amount of returns is very limited. But if I go into the ultra degen, that's where I can like double my money, do a 10x whatever. I'd have a better chance as long as I put in a lot of research and understand risk, etc. So my focus was more geared towards these new projects that were on the chain itself.
Right. And is there one that you like in particular on building on Phantom, or a number of them that you like in particular, and why is that?
Yeah, so throughout this bear market, what I've come to discover, at least this is my thinking, is I like the projects that are adaptable, that have security, have runway, but then also are looking to capitalize on other chains. So not just one, because it's hard to determine what chain is going to be the number one, numero uno. A lot of them can go bust, a lot of them can consolidate, work together, etc. I don't know. And I'm going to be transparent, say I just don't know.
Of course.
But I try to look at the projects that are building and are most adaptable to come out on top. So when it came down to Fantom, there have been a lot of projects that have gone cross chain. The one that's recently caught my attention, I'm doing a lot of research on, is the group called Byte Masons. Now, what they're doing is they're trying to look at DeFi and say, dude, this is very inefficient right here. When you take a look at these other lending platforms, they take out a lot of fees, etc., and the users end up getting screwed. So they're coming out with a lot of new tech for DeFi, making it very easy for new people. Likewise, they are doing a lot of how do you say it? Become way more efficient to get a lot more yield in a safe way, and then likewise pass that off to the user. So I'm doing a lot more research on that. I'll be coming out with more videos, more of a deep dive. I'm also going to be doing another interview with Justin Bieber in the coming weeks. So feel free to check that out. Other projects, let's see here. I also like Liquid Driver because they're just driving liquidity. It's more of not just on one chain, they're looking at multiple chains and how to be, quote, unquote, a kingmaker. So a lot of projects, in order to incentivize people to deposit and invest and provide liquidity, they have to emit a ton of tokens. And the problem with that is, well, then people get diluted and it's just no bueno. So what they're doing is they say, okay, come over to us. We'll help you out. We'll drive that liquidity for you. And then that way you don't have to do as much emitting of the tokens. And as a result, they have more governance over certain dexes. And then it becomes like a, how do you call it, the flywheel effect. So I also like that one. And then let me see what other one I have. If I had to pick a third one, there are other ones that are on my list, such
Anything
as
metaverse related or NFT
Meta
related?
NFT related. It could be because I'm more in the DeFi realm. I do want to look more into reverse finance. So the concept with that is that's more DeFi still, but with NFTs. So it comes into financial NFTs. Because yes, a lot of times NFTs are looked at as just a monkey photo, right? And then that's it. But what if you can use that technology to focus more on yields and have positions where you say, okay, this NFT represents my position in a liquidity pool,
Yeah.
and now I want to get out of it, but I don't. I get all the benefits of locking for years, but it's in an NFT, so now I can sell it somewhere else. Or what if you could get the yield up front? And or I could borrow against this NFT, etc. So that is something that I want to research more into. Now, some of these projects I already am invested in, so that's a disclaimer right there. But nevertheless, I want to take a look more. When it comes to the metaverse stuff, I did see a lot come out just in general on different chains, but I'm not really convinced. I'm still keeping my eye out, but the concept of having a metaverse land and then being able to go in there and then let's say have, I think you mentioned that on our previous video, have, let's say, Cryptos chain playing a live stream or giveaway or something that's happening while you're in the metaverse and you doing some cool stuff with your buddies. I think that would be really cool. I just don't know which project is leading the way, or could there be a dark horse where another project comes out?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean that's the thing, is like not every ecosystem has a metaverse platform right now doing something like that, right? I mean, it all depends on the ecosystems at the end of the day and who their backers are, because they need a lot of funding to build this kind of metaverse as well. And now that you've told us about Fantom, I mean, what other ecosystems are you eyeing? And like, would you say would be the next two, or your go-to aside from Fantom, if you were to look at what we've got right now in the top 100 on
Hmm.
Coin Market Cap?
That's a great question. Right now, I've just kind of removed a lot of my opinions and I say, I don't know. I'm keeping my eye out. I'm doing research. that's why I wanted to definitely talk to you about DOT, because I saw that it was definitely top on the market cap and I didn't know that much. So I wanted to do my research, figure that out. I think that a lot of these chains are going to be interoperable, and that's going to be a key factor. So rather than look at specific ecosystems, I'm looking more at the projects that are able to adapt and go onto the different ecosystems. Because I don't want to put my bet everything on just like a particular chain, especially when the trend can change, right? And can go differently. So I rather go with the projects that have the ability to maneuver. But I see currently as the trend, one of them may be like layer twos. So a lot of people from Fantom jumped over to Optimism. And likewise, some people are saying that Arbitrum is kind of like a cool L2, especially where I think GMX is running more of a, was it? Maybe you could provide more info, but I see a lot of people can probably buy tokens, short it, etc.
The perpetuals exchange. Yeah. The famous
Yes.
one. Yeah.
So I think that captured a lot of attention recently. Where it will go, I don't know.